If you're ready to harness the power of your communications data, blast off with Nylas today.
Hey, Ram, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Good. So this is probably a nice sort of relief for you because you've been the driving force behind Nylas's involvement in Hacktoberfest, which I know was a very busy month, and we wanted to do kind of like a quick wrap up. But before we jump into that, like, how are you feeling about it all?
I am feeling good. It was definitely exciting to kind of have a very busy month, and it's nice to kind of have it wrap up. And it's really cool to see all the contributions we had, but it was definitely busy. So even just personally, it's like our festival season, so a lot going on with fall season changing and everything. But this was definitely fun to do.
That's awesome, and I see you've got some like nice sort of flair added to your little name bubble there in the live stream, which is cool. I'd love to just like get a rundown of everything that happened during Hacktoberfest and kind of celebrate some really cool things that developers jumped in and contributed.
Yeah, let's jump in. Let me share my screen, and we can start talking about Hacktober. We can do a nice recap of what happened this past month. So let's first take a look at just overall numbers. So we had just over 3,000, so 3,000 lines contributed. So this is about 3,500 lines contributed of both code and documentation of using different code, which is awesome to see. And as well, we had over 10 different contributors. So these are 10 different developers that came in and built with Nylas. They built different code samples. So we received about 19 code samples from all the different developers, and we had some come in even in the last few days of Hacktober, which is really exciting to see, given that it's a month-long event and there's a lot going on in the month of October as well. And we'll take a look at the different code samples very soon. We'll just kind of do a quick overview of the different code samples. And what I thought was really nice was to see all the different languages. So we saw JavaScript, Python, and as well Java code samples being built out. And all our code samples were built out with the Nylas SDK. So this is a great tool to build with Nylas when you can just take advantage of the SDKs for communicating with the Nylas APIs, and as well to access the communication data from different users.
Yeah, super cool. So it's good to like just focus in on that for a second. So when we are talking about these code samples, right, which is probably a little bit different than a lot of types of ways people can contribute across all the different open source repos that might be out there accepting Hacktoberfest contributions. So for us, I think one of the ways that we really wanted to get people involved was to say, hey, you can come in and find like a small use case or a common maneuver that developers might do with Nylas and our Nylas SDKs. And then, just kind of come in and you get to build like almost a small sample app again, or like a small common maneuver or something like that. So this is different, of course, than you might, for example, find some open source projects out there that let you come in and submit a feature or, fix a bug or something like that. In our case, we're really focused on enabling developers to come in and kind of like demonstrate what you can do with Nylas as a code sample.
Yeah, what was nice, I know midway through Hacktober, we decided, okay, let's add more issues. So we started with maybe 20 or 30 different code sample requests we were looking for, and then it grew to about 70 to 80. We went through a brainstorm session, and it was nice to kind of layer in complexities with using email, using calendar, creating recurring events, and to also see developers getting excited to build up more complex features using Nylas.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was kind of a nice problem to have, and one we weren't really sure when we got started. I think it's probably worth pointing out that this is the first time Nylas has been involved in Hacktoberfest, and so, we were not. I think at the outset I told you this could potentially go in two different extreme directions. We might put this out there and it's crickets and we don't hear from anybody. But the other extreme could be, and I've certainly heard this kind of story before, which is like suddenly you're inundated with thousands of requests of varying levels of thought put into them. And so I don't know. I think it seems like the general consensus was that for Nylas in our first year, it was really just, I'm sure it was a very busy month for you, and also for Black, who was in there working on some of the stuff as well. But at the same time, kind of a nice balance in terms of it wasn't too few and not too many, and the people that were contributing were by and large really kind of jumping in and kind of I don't know, like working with the spirit of what we were hoping to do inside of Hacktoberfest.
Yeah, I think also kind of jumping on the point about this was really seamless in the sense that just we were able to kind of leap board off of Hacktober and use the event and kind of join in. So it was really nice to see Hacktober to come together. I know DigitalOcean, AppWrite, and Docker, they put in a lot of effort and guardrails and guidelines that we could just leverage and use. So really just kind of getting started and getting set up. It was more so us deciding how did we want to do this, because all the guidelines and kind of the rules were out there and available to us.
That's right. Well, cool. Without further ado, I would love to see just kind of we'll maybe we can do a rundown of like who contributed, and also like get a sense of just like at a high level like what kinds of contributions we were able to accept from these folks.
Yeah, let's jump into first. Let's actually go into GitHub, and here we have all the different contributions. And just from the top to bottom, we started seeing more interesting code samples come in where you can start filtering emails. And I think in this example, I said, how about we try to filter on the keyword unsubscribe? So try to find all your emails that have unsubscribe in them. And as well, just starting doing more interesting things with calendars. So we had one come in where you just create reoccurring events for coffee invites. And this is just done in Python. So
I want to take advantage of that one as a user. Actually, I'll be sure to check that one out.
And we did something similar for even calendar events, because if you want to see how many calendar events you have that contain certain keywords like brainstorm or town hall or even just coffee, you can see how many calendar events you have in the year or in the past month for a specific keyword.
That's cool.
And as well, we kind of had some interesting code samples come in for accessing contact information. So we do have 3 different areas of communication data you can access. So you have your calendar, you have your emails, and the one that's not as well known or not as well seen is just contacts. You can go in and manage contacts and create new contacts using the Nylas SDKs or using Nylas the Nylas APIs.
That's awesome. I think, yeah, when we look at, before Hacktoberfest, where, areas where maybe just the broader body of samples that the developer relations team and our colleagues here at Nylas had created beforehand, areas where we were probably like hoping to see a little bit more because we ourselves just hadn't gotten around to fleshing those areas out. When it comes to features, certainly showing people how to use the contacts APIs and those features inside of the SDKs. It's really nice to see more of those showing up. And I'd also say on the language side, I think as a developer relations team, we certainly have our, let's say, strengths when it comes to Python, Node, and Ruby. Java's been a bit more of a nascent effort for us in terms of just kind of showing developers how to jump in and work with our Java SDK. So it was really cool to see some of these contributions come through, and I think probably represent a pretty substantial increase in terms of percentage when it comes to resources available for developers when using Nylas APIs and Java.
Yeah, I think totally to double click on that part, just on the flip side, this is code that's accessible by other developers coming in so they can see all the building blocks for building with Nylas. And this is a great way to kind of get started, to look at some simpler examples before diving into more complex use cases or building out fully functional features.
Love it. So who were these people that were jumping in here during Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, let's take a look. So we had quite a few contributors, and I put them up here on the screen. So we've had Shovik, we've had Sankit, Amit, Nikil, and Divyesh, and Arthur, Yogesh, Danielle, and Aditya. So we had quite a few developers come in from all across the world and pick up Nylas, learn how to build with Nylas, and start shipping code samples. And it was almost like we extended or increased our team size by 5 for the period of the month, where we had 10 more developers working with us and contributing and building code samples.
That's so true. Yeah, I think about like right now we have 2 developer advocates on the team, yourself and Black, and yeah, now you have all these other folks to get a chance to work with and interact through those pull requests and reviews.
Yeah, so definitely something we want to look to going forward is just how the developers experience Nylas, and being able to work with them and see them build in public was a great experience for us to see. Oh, what are areas that we can do better with Nylas, or what are areas that are interesting for developers to work with. So really kind of seeing through the lens of the developer has been really fun this past month for sure.
Yeah, just to put you on the spot a bit, then, like, when it came to just interacting with developers in those pull requests and review sessions, anything that comes top of mind in terms of maybe a learning or just a common pattern or anything that you noticed through that process?
Surprisingly, given that we've kind of built a lot of our like guidelines and contribution guidelines ahead of time, it was pretty seamless for getting the developer to kind of create a PR and to kind of go through the checklist of everything that needed to be done.
That's awesome.
I think for the most part, just really certain parts that we want to work on is just really connecting a user account, how to go about doing those things. We noticed in 1 or 2 cases, some developers weren't clear, but we also had some videos or FAQs around, okay, how would I actually connect an account? How would I get credentials? So those are things that we added in along the way. But for the most part, I noticed it was generally seamless to kind of get a code sample going and to test it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, let's maybe kind of highlight a few other things with contributions. So I know a few developers. We've done some demos in the past, but I want to highlight a few developers in terms of Danielle was the one of the first developers to ship a Nylas PR during Hacktoberfest. So this was in the very first beginning days of October. So definitely kudos to Danielle for doing that. We appreciate your contribution and just jumping in and building something. I think she went in and built out a code sample using TypeScript, which was awesome.
That's super cool, and yeah, Danielle is definitely a household name here at Nylas Developer Relations. Again, because starting out, we just weren't sure if people would jump in and want to contribute. So it was really cool to see someone like right out of the gate join in.
Yeah, and kind of shifting to the next developer. I know Arthur, I've mentioned, was able to ship a code sample relatively quickly. So he picked up the ticket, and I think I actually shared a message on the Discord channel, the official Discord channel for Hacktober, and I think he jumped in right after and he picked up a ticket, and within 30 minutes he had a PR ready. So I was really surprised at the turnaround time. So kind of showed that the what we had set up is generally seamless for a developer to go in, figure out what they needed to do, and to be able to kind of create and ship something really fast.
That's phenomenal, and that's what you want to see, right? I mean, it's super exciting to think that as someone who had heard about it was able to jump in and create a local repo, sign up, get the credentials in and build some kind of sample code, and then push it up to GitHub and submit that pull request, which in and of itself also, in just submitting the pull request also comes with a checklist as well. So that's a amazing speed. So thank you, Arthur, for jumping in and doing that. It's another story we loved talking about internally here at Nylas.
Yeah, and as well, I just wanted to give a shout out to Amit and Shovik. They actually completed Hacktoberfest with Nylas. So they completed over 4 different contributions over the period of the past month, which is really exciting to see. A developer to go in, build using smaller tickets, or take on those building block issues, and then start building more complex code samples.
Yeah, that's also worth pointing out explicitly. But for those who haven't been following with Hacktoberfest this year, at least the waterline for being able to say that you had completed Hacktoberfest was getting 4. It was 4 pull requests accepted into a repo.
Yep, 4 pull requests. So this was nice. We saw even Shovik had some PRs coming in the last few days, and he was just excited to contribute. I think he did over 4 contributions for Nylas, which was nice to see.
Wow. Well, Amit and Shovik, congratulations and thank you, and thank everyone here and all of our other contributors for jumping in and shipping some really cool stuff.
Yeah, and as well, we're going to have a follow-up post where we're going to share all the different developers that contributed and showcase them as well coming later this week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I just wanted to kind of end off with just a last few things in terms of we definitely are looking for and we welcome more contributions. Feel free to jump in, share any issues, code samples, README updates, and as well tests in our Nylas samples repo. So everything that's publicly available. We'd love to see more contributions and continue Hacktoberfest, maybe not at the same scale, but definitely continue receiving contributions.
Not at the same scale, he says. In other words, let RAM take a break during the month of November and through September, just a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's worth pointing out that, you know, again, Hacktoberfest, we were really focused on you know, working with developers to show more code samples. But I want to just make it super clear that like there's all sorts of ways to contribute, not least of which is submitting issues. So if you're in our Nylas samples and you see something that you're not sure about, or you have a request or something like that, always feel free to submit an issue. That is a contribution. But if you do want to submit some of these other things, in terms of, you know, coming in and fixing up an issue in a existing sample, or, you know, updating our readmes, or, you know, writing tests, which would be amazing, that is 100% welcome.
Yeah, so definitely anytime we welcome contributions, and we're excited to work with developers, learn from them, and as well share different ways to build with Nylas. So this is a great two-way street that we can kind of learn and grow together. So definitely check out our Nylas samples repo at github.com/Nylas-samples. And as well, to get started with building with Nylas, go to developer.nylas.com.
Okay, really cool. Well, I think that concludes what I suppose will be our final live stream for Hacktoberfest this year. Another thanks to all the developers, and you know, thank you, Ram, for putting so much effort into this over the past, you know, month and a half or so, to get this up and running, and make sure the developers who were contributing were well taken care of.
Yeah, definitely a big shout out as well to Blog, and as well all our internal team supporting us through this past month. So it's been really exciting to see us come together really quickly for Hacktober. And as well, just kind of want to kind of show our YouTube channel. Hop on youtube.com/Nylas/c/Nylas. We love to see you subscribe and follow along on just building with Nylas. And we have videos or build with Nylas videos, code with Nylas videos coming out twice weekly, and as well blog posts coming out every week as well, 2 times a week. So please follow along. We love to see you come again.
Yeah, that's right. Hit like, hit subscribe, get those comments in. Like, we're really we will jump in and interact with you for sure. So we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks everybody. Thanks, Ram.